Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Orca range of wetsuits and talking you through the structure of the wetsuits and how to understand which wetsuit will suit you best. There's been a few changes between last year's range and this year's range, and so we'll cover that as well, so you're fully informed on making the right decision when you're choosing your wetsuit. So essentially, the range is broken down into a few areas. You've got the open water swimming range, which is independent from the triathlon range, and then you've got the swim run range as well. The open water is quite self-explanatory, obviously for open water swimming, and the differences between this range essentially from the triathlon range is they're not really trying to mess with anyone's form. They're quite a neutral suit, so it's more about sort of high visibility, keeping you warm, and lots of flexibility, that kind of thing, without really sort of having any input in terms of your form when you're swimming. And then you've got the triathlon range, which we'll be talking about predominantly today, the changes within that and how it's broken down. Okay, so traditionally, Orca have always tried to help you along your wetsuit buying journey by breaking the suits down into different, essentially swimming abilities, or where you're at as a swimmer. Okay, so traditionally that's been the sort of person that was quite a natural swimmer, which would need more flexibility, so they've called that the natural range. The progressive swimmer, so that's someone who is sort of getting into it, who's learning and progressing essentially, and might need a bit more buoyancy. And then you've got the sort of combination of both, which is the total swimmer. Okay, so you've still got those three categories within the range, and that's always been there to help assistance when you're choosing the right wetsuit. So that's still there, but essentially it got a little bit lost with the different names and everything, a bit confused. So that's been simplified for this year to really sort of just help you understand the differences between the suit and what suit might be best for you. So coming back to those three categories then, you've essentially got the natural swimmer. The suits within that category now are going to be called the flex. It makes a lot of sense really. Someone who's got more natural swimming ability will typically going to be looking for more flexibility as a priority. On the other end of the scale, you've got someone who's progressing, who maybe wants their swimming posture adjusted a little bit more, a bit more assistance, a bit more buoyancy, is going to be falling under the float category, because naturally you want more float, and that's under the sort of progressive category, that progressive swimmer. And then you've got a combination of both, and that's the suit within that range, or the total swimmer, as we say before, is going to be the flow wetsuit. Okay, so now we have the principle of the flex, the flow and the float wetsuits. We can talk about the sort of two categories within that, which are the two sort of grades of suit, if you like. You've got the apex, which sits at the top, which is going to be the sort of all the new technology, the highest end technology. And then you've got the athlex, which sits below that, which essentially is all the tech, but with a bit more value. Okay, so walking you through the range then, we are starting with the float. The float then, again, is broken into the two, if you remember. You've got the athlex, then you've got the apex. Now, you will remember certain suits from last year. Don't worry, they are still there. So our best-selling suit by quite a long way was always the S7. So the S7 lives on, but it just has a different name now, just to make things a little bit more simple. So within the float range, you used to have the S7 and you had the 3.8. It does make a lot more sense these days. So essentially now you've got the athlex float, and then you've got the apex float. Okay, so that just helps you to sort of understand how the range is constructed. Still the same sort of technical structure within the suit. You've got that Yamamoto neoprene, and as you move up into the apex, you've got more of that higher grade, higher cell neoprene within the suit, and then you've got a few more other technical features, but we will do a sort of more in-depth video about each one of the suits. This is just to help you understand the range itself. So that is the float range broken down into the athlex and the apex. Okay, so moving on to the flex range. So previously you would have been familiar with the equip, which is basically the sort of slightly lower down in the range, and then you had the alpha, and the alpha comprising more of that high-end technology again, a bit more of the higher grade neoprene. Now you've got the athlex flex, and now just above that you've got the apex flex. Okay, again, you are getting what you pay for, so as you spend more money you get more of the technology. Predominantly it's that sort of higher grade Yamamoto neoprene throughout more of the suit, but that's the flex range. Okay, lastly you have the flow range. The flow range, as we said before, is that combination of flexibility and float for that sort of person that's looking for the best of both worlds, basically. Previously, you had the sonar and you had the predator within the range, the predator being the sort of top suit. Just to simplify things again, you've got the Apex suit now instead, which sits at the top, and then you've got the Athlex, which is the more combination of value and technology. So the Athlex will replace the sonar, and then you've got the Apex, which replaces the Predator. And these suits, as you said before, are just the sort of combination of flexibility and buoyancy. And the more money you pay once more, the more tech you get, and the more of that really higher end, higher cell Yamamoto neoprene that you get. Okay, so that is essentially a breakdown of the Orca range going through for 2022 and for the foreseeable future, essentially. And it's really just to sort of simplify things again. You've still got those three categories. You've got that natural swimmer, which is going to be the flex, the person that needs lots of flexibility over above anything else. You've got that progressive side of things, which is going to be the float, which again is going to be someone that's going to be looking for the most assistance in their swimming posture. Then you've got the combination of both, which is the flow. And then within that range, you've then got Athlex and Apex, which is essentially price point of the suit and how much sort of technology, premium and sort of more standard essentially. So hopefully that helps break down the range itself. The suits haven't sort of changed. You haven't lost the suit. If you've got a favorite suit like the S7 or the Predator or the Equip that you're looking to repurchase, it's still there. It's just really a name change to help sort of simplify the range. Hopefully that'll be something that makes a lot of sense to people going forward, and feel free to leave any comments below with anything you'd like explained, or just click through to the Wetsuit Centre for more information.